I picked this book up at a thrift store. All it is tips from other quilters about quilting. One lady said, have a drink of wine before you hand quilt. Another said, practice, 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 and I agree with that one. As I'm getting ready to do some quilting on the domestic machine, there's some things I need to do, and practice is one of them. You don't have to practice a lot, but practicing some makes this easier. This is not hard. This is the part where people hesitate to take a chance. So this is a scrappy block, and it'll either get used for a mug rug or something, but it was in my bin of extra parts pieces. So I am going to use a plastic overlay, and you can use whatever you have. Tracing paper, you can doodle on scrap paper. You can take a picture if you have a phone and then edit the picture and write right on top of it. Anything that gives you an idea of, yeah, I like that, or no, I don't. And then just go for it. So this is just in preparation. It just takes a few minutes. It's no big deal. I think that if I were doing this one on the machine, and I'm going to, of course you have the layers. You have your batting and your block and your backing. And you have it together. We'll talk about basting here in a little bit. This block doesn't need to be basted because it has an iron-on batting in between. So I'm going to start at the center and make a design. It's kind of leaf shape. Start in the center, make a design, this kind of leaf shape. Does it have to be perfect? No, it does not. And people that are getting gifts don't always expect perfect. And if they do, maybe they don't deserve the gift of a homemade quilt. I like the way that looks. And then maybe just outline the pinwheel or on top. I'm not very good at stitching the ditch, so it doesn't really matter. And then I think I would pick up my needle and start again. Let me lay this aside. I'm going to lay these aside together. Now I need to deal with feed dogs. This machine does not have a plate that goes over the feed dogs, and you can't drop the feed dogs down. You need to do something with the feed dogs, or you're going to end up with some things on the back, wrinkles, stuff you don't want. So my answer for feed dogs, index card, and I'm going to put it right on there, and I'm going to put the needle down, and I'm going to wiggle it around a little bit, give it a little bit of a chance to make a decent hole. And then I'm going to tape down the corners. Now you can use packing tape. I'm using regular tape. Whatever you want that you can get off of your machine when you are all done. If you want to tape it better than this, you go right ahead. I only need it so it doesn't get caught on the fabric. I'm going to have to pull up that bottom thread so I'm ready to go. Okay, here we go. So I grab my top thread and I pull the bottom thread through, just like if I was starting a brand new project and it was coming from the bobbin case. So now I'm ready to put a project on there. I'm going to set my stitch length to the biggest size it can be. I've got my overlay laying here beside me, and I need to think about thread color. The pink is fine for the back because this is practice. I think I'm going to let the white on there. Now I need to lighten up the feed dogs as much as I can, or the presser foot as much as I can, because I don't want it, see, it's too tight. It is not loose enough. So let me take care of that. So now I have the presser foot to a pressure that I can handle. I'm going to drive the fabric around a little bit before I start sewing. So I know that I'm going to do a leaf shape.
And then do the vein. And then I'm going to do a leaf shape.
Oh, I see that there's some seams that are going to give me a challenge, and then a vein back to the center. I need to pull the bottom thread to the top, just like you do when you're quilting on any machine, because you don't want it to get all knotted and messed up on the bottom. Oh, and I've got a lot of thread pulled out there from, there we go. Let me trim that off just a little bit. And after I make a few stitches, I'm going to take my foot off of the pedal and trim that tail away so it is not in my way in any way. Are we ready? Get set. One petal shape. Am I sad if my stitches aren't even? No, I have picked a color that blends in fairly well so that I can't see it. And there again, petal 2, done. If I'm moving my hands, I have my foot on the pedal. So it is go. While I have it there, I'm going to reach in and trim those threads. They don't need to be there anymore, and it's a pain to have to pick those out. So let me continue. Oh, I think that made it worse, didn't it? Leave stem back to the center. And there we have the leaves all done. See, that wasn't all that painful. let me change threads and I'll be right back. Okay, I've changed threads. I need to go through the same procedure and pull the bottom thread up to the top. Well, maybe. There it is. Pull it up to the top. And I am going to work on it a little bit, and then I will stop and clip those threads. I think I'll put my needle down, clip my threads, and then I will continue. You know, you can turn this too. I don't have to keep it the same way if I don't want to. I can stop and I can turn. Now at this point, I can either pick up my needle and cut my thread. I'm going to choose to go over a thread and go to the outside edge, where I'm gonna, and I think when I did my practice, I did this the other direction. Ooh, that wasn't the straightest of straight seams, but it's all right. You can't see it. I chose my colors wisely. When you get better and better, you'll want to choose colors that have more contrast so you can show off your fantastic work. But until you are ready to do that, it's okay to blend in a little bit till you get practice and get to be as perfect as you want to be. That's how this works. Okay, I am going to turn this so I can go along the seam and go to that outside edge. Time to get started on a corner. I have put my presser foot down. I need to grab that thread from underneath, keeping my foot far away from the pedal while I pull up the thread, because I don't want to sew my finger today. Tuck everything back. Now, my goal is to go out here to do 1 loop, 2 loop, 3 loop. So I need to hang on to that corner because I don't want it to get wrapped up. And I think my best bet might to actually be to do it this way. So I'm coming toward myself let's check it out and see if it works. One loop. Second loop. Third loop. Not bad. I kind of like that. I think I'm going to pull the needle up and so I can just move. And I think I will be all right since there's such a nice long space and I'm working toward myself. I think it'll be all right. So let's check this out. Let's try it. We'll know if that works or not. One loop. Two loops. Third loop. It's okay. Pulled up some thread there from the back. It won't pull the thread up. Okay, press your foot back down. One loop. Second loop. Third loop. That's not very... That I like. Did much better this time. So I'm going to do that again. One stitch for stay. Loosen up the thread. And when I put up the presser foot, it loosens the tension disc so I can move. Now normally I wouldn't do that, but because it's open, I need more thread than that. Because it's open and I'm not going around and around, I'm just doing a corner. It's working. One loop, two loops, third loop, and it is done. So let me take it off the machine and we will look at the back to see how we did. Okay, here it is on the back. Now, I chose a color that blended in fairly well, and it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look perfect, but it's not supposed to be perfect. And if you have set that standard for yourself, I am so sorry. But the more you practice, this is one of those things you'll never know until you try it, whether or not you can do it. And once you try it, it's like doing those scrappy pieces. It's so freeing. You will want to do this all over the place. Now, I did see when I changed threads and I looked, there were a couple stitches that were larger than I wanted them to be. That means, oh, there they are, right there. Right there. There's a couple stitches that are rather large. Right there they are. Rather large. That means I was not pushing the pedal and making the machine go as fast as my hands were moving. But that's the only one of those I see, and so I'm okay with that. And my stitches aren't perfectly even because it's been a while since I've machine quilted anything on the domestic machine, but that looks pretty good. This will be a lovely mug rug. You do another little quick practice. And then these actually get made into another overlay because I've got a nice box full of these. Don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of them. I have a doll baby quilt that I'm going to do, and it has blocks this size, and so I need to think about the overall size. It's not a very large quilt. Let me pop it up right here. This is my plan for the little doll quilt. Time to get to work on my little doll quilt. Check back on Friday of next week to see it. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.